So let's get that little bottom underskirt ready to go. Obviously I made more than I need here, so I'm having fun with it. You know, I was just demoing. It has some left over. And again, if you want to make them bigger, go right ahead. If you want to make them longer, probably going to make them smaller. Because I do have that, you know, I do have that one. Where'd you go? Come back, mister. Where I did this sort of lavish sort of underskirt thing going on here. You know, if you want to do that, that's fine. I definitely wouldn't bend those going up. Because remember, you have that option if you want to. I kept saying the lacing going up. There's no lacing on these. I don't know why last time I kept saying, oh, if the lacing's up. I mean, just the obvious. You know, sometimes I'm not working from a script here. So, you know, sometimes the words just get stuck in one way or the other. Like I always call petals leaves. And, you know, hopefully you understand by what I'm pointing at. So what I meant is like you can turn these around. And you could have the wire bits on the upper side and then bend them this way and have that sort of like reality going on. And that would be really pretty too, especially if they're small little leaves like this. Up to you. Just the different way that you kind of construct and assemble them. So we're going to still go with the bottom, like the aiming down skirt situation for what we're doing. Okay, so let us get our happy little peony here, still fluffed and ready to go. I feel like this is just a little too close. Anywho, hopefully that's a little bit better. Still working with this new app. Sounds like I said amp. So I'm going to pick, 6 of these. And I want them to kind of be random. And I might end up with 3 of the sort of khaki, 3 of that sort of black diamond, sort of brighter green. I don't know. I'm just going to pick ones that I think look cute right now. And you want them to be kind of flat because we're going to bend them later. Otherwise, it'll be real hard to wire them in. Okay, so let's see which 3 I'm going to pick. I'll pick kind of a wider, darker green one. The khaki one. We'll choose one of those. Let's see. Maybe this little baby guy here. That one works. This little longer one here. This little baby one here, that's 4. I want to definitely have some skinnier, longer ones. That skinny, long one's good. And then that skinny, long one's, that one's almost too wide, though. And that's not bad. Maybe I'll take that one out. 1, 2, ooh, that one's already similar. Put you back. 1, 2, 3, 4. And again, just kind of pick what you think makes sense. Do a skinny one there, 5. And then, I don't know, just randomly, like I ever randomly do anything. I'm going to grab that one because it's there. And I'll put the rest of these away for a later date for another peony in the future. Okay, so now we got these guys going on. And we're going to just wire them into the base there. I just had my good wire out. I know I always say that, right? I'm like, oh, my wire. Where'd my wire go? Because, where'd my wire go? I seriously had, that's hilarious. Let's pause for a moment while I find that. Okay, I actually couldn't find the wire I wanted. I'm just going to use this dark green zebra 30 gauge wire. I apologize for not being able to find stuff that easily. I'm moving into the whole bead operation into a different space, so things are a little bit in flux right now. So just push these up gently. You don't want to beat your thing up here, but, pull them up a little bit gently so you can get to your... Let me straighten that out. And then just start sticking them on there on the bottom. Get them up as close as you can, up to the bottom, but don't, stress out about it. Just push them up with your thumb. Get them right up in there, and then start wrapping it. Let's go. Straighten them out so you can get in there. I'm using 30 gauge because I really want it to be kind of, I don't know, this is a kind of a thick 30 gauge. I know it shouldn't be thicker than anything else, but it just feels slightly thicker. But that's good. I want it to be strong here because I'm going to hold these guys on here. And now I'm just going to, don't even try to alternate though either. You don't want it to look like you planned it. Like lighter. If you only have one kind of green, then just use one kind of green. It's okay. And one of mine, I think I showed you, I used pretty much all the same except for one bottom leaf I did in a different color. Oh, this is very squirrely. going to put the skinny one here. Going to put some skinny ones. I'm kind of alternating. Like I said, don't alternate. And now I'm alternating. And just wrap them on there. Wrap them up. Okay. I'm not the best wrapper, but there you go. Okay, so right now I am alternating, so I'm going to make a conscious choice to put the two khaki ones next to each other. Sometimes when I hold too tightly, it gets stuck on the top of my thumb above my nail. So I have to be careful with that. The first few passes. Come back. There we go. Trying to hold the wires so they go kind of parallel down the thing. I've already messed it up. This one a little sideways. Not a big deal. Okay, so now I'm going to put this one here. Shoving it right on in there. Oops, there went something. And it sounded like beads. Okay, wrapping it up again, doing a bunch of wrapping. Got a nice tangled wire there, luckily not too bad. And there's one little spot left, perfect size for this guy. I'm gonna hold him right up in there again, pushing up with my thumb. Tip of my thumb, pushing it right up in there. Which makes it a little bit hard again, because then if you're pushing it that hard, sometimes the wire gets stuck on the top of your thumb. So now for the last go around, push these guys up. For the last go around, you know, do a bunch of wraps. You know, I'm doing like, I don't know, 10, I don't know, making numbers up now. We want it to be stable, right? So I'm holding it in there, and it's pretty solid. I'm happy with it. Okay. Now you can also then check with your pliers and kind of tamp it down, because we got a pretty thick wire, but it's okay because it's going to be underneath that skirt. Another reason why it's kind of nice for it to go down that little leaf skirt instead of going up. But to be honest, it still will look good when it's done. So I'm going to pull this down. And because it keeps getting stuck on here, I'm going to chop off some. I really like zebra wire. I wish they made, like, I don't know, I wish it was easier to get, for one thing. I don't know, maybe I'm just not looking in the right places. But I only ever seem to find purple and green and red. I think I had blue for a while, too, navy blue. And not that many sizes. Oh, I did get, like, a chartreuse once. I have that somewhere. And I think it was a 24 even, which was interesting, because I almost always find, like, 30s or something. Okay, so I'm just wrapping it down. Now, here's where you need to make a decision how you're going to arrange your flower. If I put them in vases, I like to have freestanding sort of leaves, which we'll do next time. What I mean by that is they come in on their own, and I do it on a thin stem. And so that way I can kind of arrange the leaves around the flowers, and they can do all the kinds of fun things on their own. So I don't put leaves on the stems anymore. Maybe one or two towards the top. So at this point, that would be your choice. If you wanted to put a couple of leaves, smaller ones, I still wouldn't go too deep down, because we're going to do those. Like on this one, I did put some leaves underneath here, and it's like 3, and they're kind of bunched up, because I wanted this one to have like kind of a lot of leaf action. That was where I was going with this one for whatever reason. Clearly, I have a lot of leaf action underneath and everywhere. So that was a little bit too much almost. I don't think I'd do the leaf skirt quite as big anymore. It was a stylistic choice that I like, but I don't need to repeat it. By the way, now notice how these are put together. If you have larger leaves, you can see that sometimes they, overlap each other. That's okay. I kind of like the way that looks. And then I had purposely like a little space on this one. Like I didn't want them to be evenly spaced. So you can figure that out. So at this point, if you want to do some little leaves underneath here, we're going to do the bigger leaves in the next video. The ones that actually, you'll, like I said, style on their own, and they'll do their own thing, and that'll be kind of fun. But if you want to do some little leaves, well, let's talk about some greens real fast. So far, we've used these so I'm going to leave this right now. I normally would, actually, there you go. I do like a quick wrap. I do like by the time I'm done, I have a lot of floral tape on things. So I would actually wrap this at this stage, and then I'd add the leaves and wrap down from there later. Now this time I want it to kind of I want to keep it flat. Remember last time I had it bunched up on purpose? So I'm using my thumb, I'm kind of holding it down. For some reason, this one's a little older. It doesn't have to be perfect. You can kind of, smooth it out later. So pull that, push it with your thumb as you're twirling. You can still have it bunchy right up at the top. Just right up at the top. It's actually a good fortifier. Okay, now I'm going to unbunch. Oops, was I out of this frame almost? Unbunch and pull it back down. Trying to be mindful of not trying to tear it because some are more fragile than others. I'm not normally this thick of one doing it, but it's hard to kind of do this under this camera. Wine. Now, let me see. Stay up there. So I'm doing kind of a sort of a close wrap, meaning like I'm not bending it down at an angle. I'm actually... So it's going to be kind of a thicker wrap up here because I'm trying to smooth over these stem wires. So notice that what I mean by that is each turn, see how this angle, it's not very extreme. It's almost perpendicular. I'm barely like progressing down the stem wire. And I'm doing that on purpose because I want a lot of coverage. Because I have these bulky stem wires right now. And I mean these bulky wires from the petals and everything. So, pulling that down. And you'll get like little kind of, sometimes your wires will get like the unspiraled. You just pull them down. They've served their purpose right now. Okay. So, again, I'm almost doing a perpendicular wrap. Now, if I did perpendicular, I wouldn't be doing any, if I was going at a 90-degree angle, I wouldn't be making any movement down the stem wire, but just the littlest bit. That's why it's taking longer. Also because I keep tangling up with a bunch of violets at the end of, at the edge of the table, or the other side of the table. So, right about there where you get past all the sort of exciting bits. And I'm going to chop that off. Little craft scissors coming in. Okay. So we got that done. Just kind of holds everything together too, right? Now, the thing is, we're not caring too much how the stem wire looks. You can smooth things out. That it's all about the flower, and I kind of like it when it looks like, some people can't handle it, or don't like it. So, put floss over it. Do whatever you need to do to make you happy with it. I find that once it's in the, arrangement, you don't really see the stems that much. So it depends on what you're doing with it. Okay. So, and you can, at this point, curl these down, make little shapes with them, pull them, make them separate, shape them, pull them down, use your fingers underneath here. I got some weird wire residue on my fingers there. Weird. Okay, so there you go. Kind of bend them down. You can even go individually and like kind of mush them and, give them that personality we're looking for. Kind of mush those little edge bits in there. Go back and mush them together. Shape them back up. You do the shaping. We are bossing around the beads this time. We're telling the beads who's boss and how we want them to look. What we want them to do, right? Okay, so there we go. We got our cute little bead skirt going on there underneath, and it's looking good. And we're going to fluff this one out more later. I mean, you can, I guess, now a little bit. It's just we're going to keep manhandling it a bit. That's a weird word, isn't it? Okay, so you can fluff it out a little bit. Give it a little bit of openness or keep it closed, however aesthetically you like it. So I'm fluffing it out. Seeing the side there. And we're looking good. Now, a note on, so we're ready to either put some leaves on here or not, because you might have enough. We're going to do leaves for the whole arrangement, standalone leaves that you can then arrange how you want to, and you can arrange them right next to the stem of this flower, so it looks like they're on the stem. That's sort of the illusion that they give. But then you just have more control over them. So there's my cute peony with its little bottom, pretty bottom with lighter colors, looking good. Pinch you together. Come on now. Okay. So now if rows are, by the way, are ever doing weird things, just pull them over. Shape. Again, not only are you the boss of the wire, you are the boss of the beads. The beads will do what you tell them to do. Mostly. We've all had moments where they're definitely not doing what we want them to do. But that being said, so here again is another example of one. These are the scalloped versions, which we might do at the end of the peonies. And so I did a few little extra. These got mushed, little extras. And this one had kind of a bigger bead skirt also on it. And so I just added maybe 3. So we'll talk about that in a second. But first, let's talk about greens. You've probably heard me talk about them before. Love the greens. I recommend everyone just to have a few ready to roll. Just have a few. We talked last time about the lighter greens, right? We talked about this. This is the Matsuno 399 F39. The F in front's important because that's the matte part. I do basically just use matte translucents for my leaves. That's just my thing. So F399Z. And of course, I bought this bag because I thought I'd run out, and I just now, when I was looking for another thing, found a huge bag that I knew I had one somewhere. But that's good. I'm going to use them, and they're not going to go to waste, right? So that's a good way to look at. That's the light one. We have this guy here, which I'm forgetting, but I gave the color name last time, or number last time. And then my regular. So those are kind of those are for new growth. Those are air quotes, believe it or not. I'm doing air quotes. Kind of like if I'm trying to do buds or like earlier leaves or bead skirts, apparently, which is not leaf skirts, huh? Something like that. So my normal beads I use, probably the one I use the most often. Let's see which one I use most often. Would probably be these. And I know I'm double bagged, so you can't see them, but this is a Toho. I love this bead. The Olivine. Look at that. It's just a gorgeous green. Isn't that a gorgeous green? I hope you can even see the gorgeousness of this green. So I love the Toho Olivine. I think it's 940F. Let's test my memory. Don't write that down yet. Yes, there is somehow mixed in there a opal bead. So that's one I probably use by far the most often. It's a nice deep bottle, forest green. And it is in fact 940F. And this is all I have left. I'm running low. I got to get another bag. So that's the Toho Olivine. So I like that one a lot. What's another one? So another one would be, apparently I'm not. Here's another huge bag of it. Okay, that's cool. Here's another almost 500 grams. Okay, half kilo. Okay, take that back. Again, I kind of lose things, but then I find them again, and it's not like they're going to go bad. So here's the Miyuki version of Olivine. It's I guess it's 158F. This is harder to find. I like it. It's slightly lighter. I do like it a lot, though. It's hard to see in this bag. I should get it out, but, it's basically the same, but slightly lighter. I will use things together that you almost couldn't tell the difference except that they just give a sort of a different dimension, right? Just having a slightly different dimension, even if the naked eye doesn't pick up the difference. So there's the Miyuki transparent Olivine, also a favorite. And then there is the Matsuno version of Olivine, which is, I think, significantly lighter than the other two. That's what's in this one right here. And I like comboing the Matsuno Olivine. This is the, oh my gosh, I should know this one by heart. I do F143B as in boy. F143B as in boy. These are your, those are my 3 go-tos. Oh, there's one more. This one is so those are all obviously, Japanese beads. And then there's one that I really like that's a check bead that I've only ever found at because I don't know what to look for because it's just a check bead. They call it evergreen at General Bead, and this one's deep. That's a deep green. I like that one though. It's a smaller bead though. It's a small 11. So keep that in mind. But it's a deep green, and it really. It's a nice deep green. So I use this one, but not as much as the other ones, and I do like to use it in concurrence because then if I use the Matsuno and then one of the other olivines and then this evergreen, that gives a nice sort of very subtle richness to the leaves. So again, I've only ever found this. They sell it on the hank or by the half kilo, and it's pretty awesome. I like this one. So those are my 3 go-to greens. 4 go-to greens, I guess. But I'm kind of considering the Miyuki and the Toho is very similar. Though I do slightly prefer the Toho, especially because I like the consistency of the size. It's a nice sized 11, if that makes sense. You probably know what I mean. Now, there are some other greens that come up that I use less often. There's one that a lot of places they call an emerald. So, for example, the Matsuno is the F147A, and that's a much brighter green, but it's still, I consider it to be brighter. It's still, I'll show an example. Where's a good example of that? I might actually have that. Oh, no, I don't actually. Oh, yeah, this is one right here. I just grabbed it. Here's a pansy leaf in the Matsuno Emerald, and it's just a brighter green. It's still that matte kind of finish, but if you like a brighter, less sort of olivey green, less mossy green, this is definitely a brighter one. It's a good option. I think in some places they call it a jade green, maybe on Aura, I don't remember where, otherwise an emerald green, and there's more than one version of this. This is the Matsuno one again, is the F147A. As an apple, and so it just gives it's just a slightly brighter green. I use that very rarely because I love the mossy greens, to be quite honest. Oh, look, all of these are actually good. So this is right here. This is the Toho olivine, and you can see the difference, right? See, look at that difference between those two. Right, I'm not sure how well it's picking things up, but I'm seeing if I have one of the even the lighter. Let me see if that's one. No, those are all just the olivine. So here's a pansy leaf combo that I made with the olivine and the emerald together, so you can really see that sort of differentiation. I'm just oh wait, let me see if I got. And is that true? I even have an evergreen one. Oh, wow. I did all kinds of things with my pansy leaves. So here's the evergreen mixed together. So if you see this, you can see the difference of these greens, right? Here's the brighter emerald. Here's the olivine. And then here's the evergreen. And so it just gives you, in these, it looks even more extreme. I don't know if I have the really light one, though. Really? I didn't make one with that? That's kind of funny. Nope. So, anyhow, there you go. You get some examples of the different greens. And next time we'll actually make the leaves. And I will make a leaf that you can use on the actual stem of the flower. Or actually, I guess we can do that now. Hang on one second. Let me get the equipment out. Okay, before we go on actually to the actual leaves, I'm going to talk a few more green adjacent items. Now, this is one, by the way, where this is the Matsuno version of a olivine next to, I think, the Toho. And you can barely, I don't know if you can even see in this video the difference. You can barely see it, but it is there. This one is slightly lighter than that. And I like that really slight lighter. Now, once in a while, I am inclined, once in a great while, to use a non-matte for a leaf. In which case, then I like this. I know there's glare on these. I like the shiny version of the Toho. So this is the Toho 940 without the F on it, so that means it's not frosted, right? And so that's a really nice color. It's a really nice bead. I love Tohos. They're just always, I just love the size of them. They're good chunky 11s. They're almost always 1/16 in height, you know, so there's that guy. And so that's a really nice, like, bottle green. So that's a good one to use. It's just the non-matte version, the shiny version of my favorite bead, the 940F, my favorite green bead. Now, another one that is green, like, well, they're green, I should say, leaf adjacent that I love to use is the, I don't know, so this is a Toho 2631F. So it's sort of light green with a, and it's opaque, and it has the AB sort of thing going on with it. I love this bead too. It makes a good one for new growth too, because it just kind of looks just fresh, especially with that little AB on it. So that's another one that I tend to use a bit of, but not for my, lots of foliage ones. And then this one I got at General Bead, and I don't even remember the name, but it's basically like the AB finish opaque olivine. This one gets really dusty, but when you use it, it's actually almost this gray green, and it's pretty cool. It's just so dusty, it's weird. But this is a nice one to use too, with a little bit of that AB sort of detailing to it. So this is just the AB opaque olivine that I got at General Bead. And so, I don't know, I use a lot of that one too. Cobweb on it. Shows you how often I use it, I guess. Let's see. Now, which other ones do I use? So, this one is almost like a matte teal. They call it transparent again, but it's not really. So, this one is Matsuno, but it's a F399Q. I love those 399s. And so you can see that it kind of has a little bit of a blue to it. So it's a lovely color, but I don't often use it for leaves for obvious reasons. Now, that doesn't mean, though, that if we do have a slight blue, there is one that I use all the time for eucalyptus. And that's this one, which is the F399F Matsuno. This one is great for eucalyptus. I just love it for it. I just love it. I love this bead so much. I would use it for everything. It's weird. It's like got a topaz finish on it, and it's like a light kind of tealy blue with a topaz finish that makes it look more green, and it just looks really cool in the light, and it's great for eucalyptus. And it's just kind of cool. It's like translucent, weird sort of coloring to it. It's a beautiful bead. Love that one. So again, I'm just showing you some sort of greens and green adjacents for options for whatever you want to be doing with your leaves in the future. Not about this guy. Oh, and here's one that's kind of out of the box. This is I think it's a Toho. I'm not sure. I know it's not Matsuno from this. I guess I got Lana bead. So matte light topaz seafoam. So that's a great bead too. I love this one. I just like to make chrysanthemums out of it all the time. Just love this bead. I would make everything out of it if I could. It's just the coolest. Just the matte, and then the way it shows up, the topaz covering shows up over the seafoam. It's a beautiful bead. So again, greens and greens adjacent. But you saw the three that I use the most, and I'm sticking to those. Now, if we wanted to do kind of a fast bead, we're going to do that same thing, fast leaf. See, and I'm going to use, I don't know, this one's preloaded and has a lot on it. So this is actually the Matsuno olivine. So again, I kind of preload them. So if I was going to do a fast leaf with this, I'd maybe do about an inch. I know I got beads everywhere now. Beads everywhere. I got to change out my white towel thing, even though it's not dirty. It looks shadowy. Okay, so we're going to do that extender thing again. And so luckily that's why I have this one loaded up, depending on how you want to do it. And you could just do a base model, like maybe an inch or a little bit less. And so I feel like I should do maybe this in a separate video. Well, yeah, let's save all the leaves for a separate video. because I'm trying to keep them all around half an hour. So we're right about there right now. So we'll do the leaves in the next one. And for right now, you got the assembly. We got our guy going. We got the leaf skirt on the bottom. It's looking good. We're looking fluffy up top. We got our fluffy center. Fluffy is the name of the game with the peonies. And we're fluffing. We're looking good. The side looks cool. I don't know. I would be happy with it. You can send some pictures. Show me your progress. Let me see how things are going. And remember, shape those edges. Furl those edges. Give it some personality. Give it some shape. Imagine you're making like an edge of a pie or something. Try it. If you don't like it, put it back. Make them flat. Do it however you want to. You can keep them flat or like not furled up too. That's going to be pretty too. It really will be, to be quite honest. It will be. So if you want to do it not furling the edges because it's frustrating you or you just like it aesthetically better the other way, then do your thing. So there we go. We're about halfway through. Oh, we got to do the buds too, huh? And the leaves. Okay, we're getting there. Getting close. Okay, good work, everyone, and happy Peony days.